we will quickly move on to the next. Next is a keynote, keynote number 2. Well, I want to call upon someone who is a director and co-founder of the company called Wakefit. Wakefit is India's largest D2C home and sleep product company with over 140 company-owned operated stores. The next keynote speaker carries over 20 years of experience spanning management, consulting, and entrepreneurship. I woke up from Wakefit today and came to the summit. It's my pleasure to welcome none other than Chaitanya Ramalingegowda.
In terms of the product evolution itself, I think this is learning number 1. We did not start off additional products, expansions, core versus adjacency by sitting in a room and discussing among ourselves. What we actually did was we listened to consumers. Back then we used to visit their consumers' homes when we used to deliver, and today that has morphed into focus groups and customer interviews. Even last night, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m., I was listening to a customer call. So every single time we have a crossroads and we have to decide which way to go. It's always the customer who tells us the answer. There's a lot of noise, but there's also a lot of signal that comes if you're willing to listen patiently. So when we started delivering these mattresses, people started saying that, I like your mattress, but in fact, I have another one in the other bedroom, but my baby peed on it in the second week. Your mattress I'll keep for the next 10 years, but the stain will also remain with me for the next 10 years. So that's when we launched our mattress protectors. India didn't have a category called mattress protectors back in 2017-18. It was very much prevalent in the US. So we brought that as an experiment and that worked out. Similarly, the pillows. We were left with a lot of extra foam and extra fabric that was made from the factory, and those offcuts would be wasted. We used to throw them off or sell it as scrap. So we figured out that memory foam and shredded memory foam pillow was a big thing in the US. So, and then we tested it out and customers started liking that. So every single time that we've had to expand, it was based on what consumers told us. Similarly, on the furniture, customers used to call and say, your mattress, I want to order a mattress. This is the product for the bed that I purchased from brand A or brand B or brand C. Which mattress goes well with this? And by the way, why are you not making bed frames? So that is how we slowly expanded one after the other every 2 to 3 years. And also think about it. We were failed entrepreneurs. Ankit had 1 failed startup. I had 2 failed startups. Our ambition, our confidence, everything was very, very low when we started in 2016. So we had no clue where it was going to go. And we thought that the best case scenario is that in about 5-6 years, we might be a 30-40 crore brand, profitable, but at least we've tried something once more. That's how we started off. But customers led us one step at a time, and we are here today having expanded to all of these categories. The awards on the right-hand side is a testament to the work done by our team, where we've won marketplace awards, media awards, and the thought process there is, again, it's not to go and accept an award on stage. The thought process is, as an unknown brand that random customer is going to discover through a Google ad or a Facebook ad, how are they going to trust you? What are the trust markers? So, for example, we tried doing the 100-day trial policy. We were the pioneers in that. So when we launched mattresses, the main thing that customers were telling us is, sure, I like it, but how do I can buy you online because we were a pure online company. But what happens if I don't like it after a few days? So we pioneered the 100-day trial policy back then, and that was a game changer. Similarly, we got certain certifications, certain awards. All of these enabled us to say a small 0.1% increment in trust that people would discover us, come, and then at least consider us for the purchase. This slide sort of gives you the reason and why we have taken some unconventional choices in our journey. Back when we started 2016-17, if you remember, it was the peak era of asset-light models. So Uber was the dominant model where they said, we will be a taxi company without owning any taxis. Then there was Airbnb, which said we are a hotel company without owning any hotels. And now, if you remember, there was a whole ton of startups that came and said, we are the Uber for laundry, we are the Uber for dog walking, we are the Uber for ABC. It was a very, very asset light model thing, and VCs were also funding that. But one thing we realized was, if you have to see the companies that have failed in the home space, and if you also see the global companies that have succeeded in the furniture and home products space, one thing that they did was to control the experience. And for controlling, you need to be able to own a lot of pillars. So that gives you two major levers that help you in your tough times. The first lever is cost control, because you're not at the mercy of some contract manufacturer who will jack up his prices, increase commissions, all of those things. The second is control over innovations. The reason we have been able to launch so many products, innovate, bring in the best materials, all of that to India is because we owned the backend. So today for us, the factory, the design team is not our backend. We don't refer to it as our backend. That is the heart and soul of the company. In fact, our office is an incidental thing, because that's where all the support functions, marketing, finance, all of them sit. But the beating heart of Wakefit resides 50 kilometers from here in Hosur, in that remote factory. That's where design operates, that's where manufacturing happens. So we made some unconventional choices to own a lot of the pillars and actually go asset heavy. So we invested in factories, we invested in warehouses, we invested in building our own brand, we invested in offline stores. So the thought process was, if you have to think long term, and obviously we couldn't have done all of this on day one, at each right point, you should be able to take on each of these pillars and build it in-house, because at some point or the other, the marketplaces will arm twist you. At some point or the other, Amazon and Flipkart will become prohibitively expensive. At some point in time, Google and Meta will become very, very expensive to advertise and survive on. At some point in time, your contract manufacturer is going to squeeze you. So if that is the case, can you really take the call and create a fixed asset that will pay dividends over a period of time? Can you be willing enough to take that call to be able to invest for the long haul? So that's the reason today we operate 5 factories, nearly 40 warehouses, nearly 137 stores across the country, because we have constantly operated on de-risking ourselves. But de-risking ourselves is one thing, but it also gives you certain other benefits. For example, when I said innovation, think about it. When an importer of furniture imports products from, say, a China or a Malaysia or somewhere else, and it gets damaged in transit in Indian roads because the roads are bad or the trucks have sharp edges, what does that entrepreneur do? They go and replace, say, take a dining set. It has a table and 6 chairs. One leg gets damaged in transit. What does that entrepreneur do? Either they replace the whole set because they have bought it in bulk, or they replace at least one chair. What do? We replace just that one leg of that one chair, because everything is engineered in the factory. So imagine the kind of wastage, imagine the kind of efficiencies from flat packing, imagine the kind of efficiencies that you can get from having utilization of a small 1500 square foot facility for warehousing can all add up. And that's the reason owning these pillars in a counterintuitive bet that you need to own the assets, do the hard call, because a lot of people discouraged us, saying that why would you want to manage labor? Why would you want to manage engineers? Why would you want to manage design people? Why do you want to even, there's no furniture design thought process in India. Why would you want to build that talent pool from scratch? Why do you want to have 200 carpenters on your payroll who go on to the customer's home and install? So we took that bet. Frankly, I cannot claim credit for it as founders. Ankit and I thought of it as a hypothesis. It just succeeded. But I'm 100% sure we've tried 90 other things that have failed. So the point I'm making is we are very experimentative, but we also take the right call, so it will give us the right margin expansion and sustainability. So this gives you a snapshot of the company, multi-channel, multi-product category. And today, I talked about the 3 categories. The interesting point about the 3 categories is people usually get surprised at one relevant metric. When they hear mattress company, when they hear furniture company, when they hear bedding and linen company. Historically in India, these have been three separate sets of companies. They've 30, 40, 50 years, they've built a mattress company. 50 years, they've built a bedding company. 50 years, they've built a furniture company. So these are really, really different industries. And also the other important thing that as soon as you say we operate in these three categories, people first thing that they think is, oh, it's a one and done category. Customers come, you have to acquire them, constant treadmill, and they purchase. Next 7 years, 10 years, they don't want to buy another product of yours, and they forget you. It is as good as acquiring them fresh 8 years later. So the beautiful thing about how we accidentally landed up on these three categories, and that has kickstarted a flywheel, is that there is a lot of upsell and cross sell. I'll talk about the metrics soon, but what happens is when we acquire a customer at 21, 22, when they get their first job after their graduation, move to a new city, usually Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, the first 2-3 things that any youngster will purchase is a toiletries and a mattress. So we usually acquire customers with an opening price point at the mattress, but then think about their life cycle. At 26, 27, they finish their masters, or they're in a better off place, they start dating and they need a bigger mattress. At 30, 31, they want to get married and get a bigger rented home which has a second bedroom. At 31, 32, they'll have the opportunity to work from home, so they need to set up a study table, study chair. Guests start coming, so they need a couch. At 35, you need better quality of furniture, and you'll need additional things like crockery unit, bookshelves, which you didn't care about till now as a youngster. At 40, you want really, really solid wood furniture that is going to last you 10, 15 years. You're very settled. You've bought your own home. You now have 1 or 2 kids. Your parents visit you. So what we've ended up building is products for different life stages. So this feeds into the flywheel where customers who come for a mattress ended up purchasing other products. Customers who came for a small bed sheet ended up purchasing a sofa. So this has fed into the flywheel, giving us control of the fixed asset that we have, factory and warehouses. The more they get utilized, the more margin we are able to save, which is not kept as margins for us as a company, but reinvested back into the business in order to build a fixed asset, not marketing and advertising, not a flashy office, not an office with a fountain, not an office with a marble floor, but we reinvest back into building something that is going to pay tangible benefits later on. So this flywheel has enabled us to build this 3-dimensional thing. If you see, on one dimension is product, on one dimension is channel. So we started off as a single product company, which is mattress, slowly expanded. Today we even have AI-led product which monitors your sleep quality and moderates the temperature on your side of the mattress, anywhere between 15 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Similarly, on channels, we started off as a purely website-driven business, expanded into Amazon and Flipkart and Pepperfry marketplaces. Then we expanded into EBOs, company-owned, company-operated, expanded into multi-brand outlets. And we are today even in quick commerce. We never thought quick commerce would be a thing for our category, but it ended up being. So multi-channel, multi-product play. But at the same time, this has resulted in lower CAC and a longer lifetime value, ability to take a longer lifetime value from the customer, because they are not buying because of a push ad, they're buying because they had a good experience with the first product. So to give you some sense, I told you in our category, people think of it as a one and done. In our company, about 35%, nearly 1/3 of our monthly revenue comes from repeat customers. About 20% of all furniture and furnishing customers were customers of some other category in the past. So I have these numbers fresh because we had to file it in DRHP and get it audited. But we were also frankly surprised. So the thought process is, the more you're able to deliver value and have a good experience in the first product, they end up coming back and keep the flywheel going. And like my panelists in the previous 2 sessions talked about, the experience center has a role to play. The D2C website has a role to play in terms of research, rich storytelling, and marketplaces have a role to play in terms of getting discovered. So all of them play a role, all of them play an important part, but we are able to cross sell and upsell to customers once they have one good experience. This is a quick snapshot of the AI enabled product. It's called the Zens range. We have two products. One is temperature regulator and one is a sleep tracker. The sleep tracker is a contactless. You don't need to wear a ring. You don't need to wear a watch. It just goes below your mattress and it tracks BCG metrics, micro vibrations that you emit throughout the night, and then makes deductions based on heart rate variability, heart rate, respiratory rate, tossing and turning, how restless you were, all of those things. It's going to take and create your sleep tracker. Snapshot of our manufacturing facilities. We operate one of India's largest furniture facilities. It's a 600,000 square foot facility in Hosur. It's completely run by robots. They optimize, the designs are stored in the cloud. They optimize the raw material wastage. They do all of the steps that are required to create furniture. And similarly, we've had to create our own supply chain, because I told you, even you might wonder why we have 200 carpenters on our payroll. It is because if you think about any other company where you purchased, two things happen. One is they will say, you leave it, it's up to you. You purchase the product, you go figure out an urban company or somebody else to go and install. The other thing they say is, sure, we can do it, but the delivery will happen on one day and installation will happen on one day. So when we have carpenters on our payroll, they deliver and install in the same visit, making it obviously very comforting for the customer that they don't have to coordinate twice. But more importantly, it reduces our cost of delivery and installation by nearly 50%, because both of it happens on the same in the same visit. So these are the micro decisions that have got us here. And similarly, our stores, we had 0 stores till 2022. 0. We were a pure online company. We hated offline. We felt that it was going to make us convert from an exponential growth company to a linear company. We didn't think we want to do that. But again, we were led by consumers. We opened 10 stores. We observed the metrics. We interviewed consumers. Ankit and I would stand there on weekends, interview random customers, try to find out their decision process, research process. It was very clear that the average order value will be higher. It's very clear that some products they want to touch and feel. It's very clear that the cart size nearly doubles if you have an offline channel. So those metrics gave us confidence, and today we have 137 stores. Again, we have not gone crazy to open from 10 to 200, 10 to 300, because we wanted to do it in a calibrated way, learn and then expand. All of these are company owned, company operated, which is managed by our own team using a lot of technology. AI technologies, offline technologies, simple SaaS products. We are able to use and manage these remotely far-flung stores through that. The last point I also want to talk about is marketing. We were not a slave to the old idiom of marketing saying that, oh, you need to have a big celebrity ambassador. If you spend 1 rupee on production, you need to spend 10 rupees on dissemination. That is the only way it makes sense. Necessity is the mother of invention. So what we ended up learning was, when you don't have capital, the strength of the idea plays a huge role. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard of it. We started something known as the sleep internship. We said that we will choose people from across the country who are passionate about their sleep, select them, pay them 1 lakh rupees each, send our free tracker and mattress to their home, and all they have to do is publish how better sleep made better people, how they were more patient with their kids, how they were better at their work, how they became more creative. That's all it is. We don't use the data for anything because it is such a small sample size. Every year we choose about 15 to 20 people. Finally, the 3 or 4 finalists get a Squid Game type finale where they are all given the same enclosure, same temperature, same light, same AC, and they sleep through the night. And whoever has the best sleep score stands to win up to 10 lakh rupees additionally, in addition to the 1 lakh stipend. So this became very, very viral. Similarly, when we came back from COVID, when everybody was complaining that in office, people feel tired after lunch because they were used to taking a nap at home during the pandemic work from home. So we ran a campaign called Do Se Dhai Sone Do Na Bhai. So we went to the HRs of all the companies and said, we will set up a nap room free of cost for you. You just need to give us space. We'll set up with 2 to 5 beds, sleeping units, bed sheets, everything. We'll take care of the maintenance. You just have to set it up so that those who are coming in from work from home to work from office have an easier transition. Similarly, there was a lot of narrative about how Prime Minister Modi was just not sleeping at all. So we said, what if we solicit messages of unity from across the country, print them on the mattress and ship it to the Prime Minister's office. So we got a lot of love, a lot of virality, and you won't believe it. Each of these campaigns cost 15, 20, 30 lakh rupees to execute. But the results are exponentially different than what you would get by simply spending money on Amazon or Facebook or Google. So even marketing, because we were forced to innovate on a small budget, we used viral content pieces. And if you notice, we spend barely 6 to 7% of our net revenue as marketing spends. So that is unheard of in a company of our size. So we've always been very frugal, always been very thoughtful, and so that is how marketing has also played into the flywheel. So if you have to summarize 2 or 3 things. Number 1, listen to your customers because unfailingly they will lead you to the answer. You have to filter out a lot of noise to get to the signal, but they are very clear on what they want if you listen. Number 2, make the hard calls that your investors, your VCs, your board may not initially support it, but make those hard calls because it will pay off dividends in the long haul. Obviously, don't bet the company on any one big initiative, but learn, iterate, and expand. But take the right call that will benefit your end customers. Number 3, ensure that capital is funneled to long-term paying assets rather than short-term glamour or short-term PR. If we have extra money, we give it in ESOPs. We give ESOPs to our labor. We give our ESOPs to our customer service executives, because we want more and more people to think of Wakefit as their company. If we had a choice with extra capital, we will set up a new factory, not flashier office. If we have additional capital, we will choose to refurbish the machine rather than buy a new machine. So I think channel the capital in the assets that give you long-term dividends. So I think I'm out of time. Sorry about extending, but I think that's the learning from our journey of building Wakefit in about 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We want you to stay back, please, on the stage. May I please request our very own board member of TIE Bangalore and also founder and CEO of Lodster Education Service, Muralidhar Surya, to kindly come and join us and present a small token of thank you from our side. We'll conclude with a picture. Wakefit, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Brilliant session.